Good evening, televiewers. Welcome to this other edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. Today, we're going to be looking at reconciliation and unity as part of the agenda of the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya. Since he took office, we've heard so many slogans on unity and the need for national integration. We've even heard about reconciliation. But how far is that implemented as far as the policies that has defined the reign of President Paul Biya? We are going to be discussing this with Dr. NGWANYAM, who is a militant of the CPDM party. He is equally an educationist par excellence and a social entrepreneur. He's going to paint a picture of where he can situate this concept of unity and reconciliation in the overall agenda of the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya. Dr. NGWANYAM is in the studio with us. We are glad to have you once again on Prime Hour, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to have me here, and I do appreciate it. You give up this airtime free of charge to educate Cameroonians, because you see, My Media Prime is one of those TV stations that has as a mission to create peace in the country. In fact, it looks like the president is copying from you. You're for reconciliation, you're for unity, and that's what you've been doing on this medium. For forgiveness, tolerance, for love, and so on. So you see, it's a movement that you started, and then I think it's the same idea that the president has, and what we are going to be doing this evening is to help everybody understand what we mean.
You see, it's the same idea that the president has?
I guess so.
How sure are you?
Well, if he has never said that we should be divided and fighting. So even if he has said that, I think he keeps talking about unity and reconciliation, and now he has cranked it up one step, you know. And we have to pay attention to that and find out what exactly does he mean. Okay,
what exactly does he mean? The President of the Republic has talked about national unity, integration, severally. Yeah. But when we look at Cameroon today, Cameroon is very divided.
That's right.
At very many levels.
That's right.
How do we explain this?
That's right.
That the president is so concerned about national unity, yet the country is very divided.
That is right.
Appears.
It doesn't appear. It is very divided.
Okay.
And that's why he's worried, because he really wants to do something about it before it's too late. You know, it's like they say, a stitch in time saves 9. And therefore, if you see this, a lot of divisions coming up, people popping left, forward, center with these messages and so on, and the violence going up, we need to do something about it before it's too late, so to speak. And I think the time is now, and it must be genuine, really genuine.
Yeah, but the time is now, and it must be very genuine. But how do we explain the fact that the President of the Republic has been talking so much about he's been talking so much about national unity and integration, yet
that's right.
Yeah, very divided. The country is very divided. How do we explain that?
That is right. I'm glad you're asking that question, because that's where the problem lies. You've asked, it's like were you looking into a crystal ball or something? Because you've just put your finger on the problem. So you said, for long, the president has been talking about unity in the nation and so on. But instead of the country being united, we are seeing divisions. So something must be wrong somewhere, and that is the problem. If you try to understand it, the president is up here trying to define the policies and the way the country should be going. And then the people and the masses are down here. And then sandwiched between the president and the masses are the people he has appointed to be able, and those that have been elected, to be able to help him to deliver. And you know, and then there's a set of people, you know, we've been talking about elites all the time. So this bunch of people, let's continue to use the term elites, are the ones that have created the problem. Some have created the problem knowingly, some have created the problem out of ignorance, and some have created the problem out of irresponsibility. And that is the disease we've got to cure, so that what the spirit that left the nation should come back. It's very important that we open this boil up so that we all understand what went wrong and do what we have got to do to correct it. It's very important.
You are a politician and very observant about what is happening in Cameroon as far as politics is concerned. Are you saying you don't know? Is it just the fact that some politicians or elites are not following the instructions or directives given by the President of the Republic? But he has been working with these same guys for over 30 years.
Right. You ask a question that pushes me to step back a little bit. And I hope that our listeners will give me a few minutes to be able to explain.
Okay.
Now, you see, we are looking at the politics and our elites and what they are doing to help the president to achieve. We are only looking at a small aspect of a bigger picture.
Okay.
And once you understand the bigger picture, then you will realize that even those elites who are failing the president, some do it consciously and some unconsciously. And for some, you can give them even 100 years, they will not correct themselves because they don't understand how things work. You know, I have come to crystallize it again into these things into 3 or 4 sentences or phrases that I make. Number 1, that we as a people don't understand problems. Number 2, that we as a people don't know how to solve problems. And number 3, that we as a people don't know how to create opportunities and wealth for ourselves and for the nation and for the common good. That is the key. And then, before we get lost again, let me continue to say what I've been saying, because it doesn't matter whether we are going to go for 100 years. If everybody can understand this picture that I'm painting, we'll be able to know where the problems are and solve them. And last time we said, I've been using the insignia of the Mercedes for long. Let me change it. And tonight, let us use a fan. For those of us who are in places that are hot like Douala, we have fans. And so we have this special fan that has got 3 blades in it. And you know that when it is hot and you socket the fan, then the blades begin to turn. And you've got different speed buttons that you can push, and you can get the fan to go even faster. So keep that picture in mind. And we are saying that the fan that we are dealing with today has got 3 blades. On one of the blades, we will write the word politics. On the second blade, we will write the word economics. And on the third blade, we will write the word development. And so that is how that's how a nation functions, and that's how things are crafted. Keep that in mind. Now, when the fan is off and it's not connected to electricity, then nothing happens. For the fan to be useful, it must be connected to electricity, and then it must be switched on. And the energy that rotates the fan, when we are talking about these 3 things, is education. And a lot of the people who went into politics are in that sector, in one of those arms of the fan that we call politics. Number 1, don't understand what they mean by politics, and they are there. That's why they tell you politics is a dirty game, and all they do is to try to see how much they can grab from the system for themselves, and they don't care about common good. And they don't understand how they're going to use politics to create wealth. That is economics. They don't understand how they're going to use politics and economics to create development. They don't understand those concepts. And you can't blame them, because they came out of this school system which did not teach them all these facets. So they come up and they're very individualistic. You know, you go and study your history, your philosophy, or whatever, and then you sing a song, and then you play the game, and then you get appointed or elected or something, and you don't know that you've got to pay attention to common good. But that is the problem.
You are seemingly blaming the collaborators of the President of the Republic, but he's the one who appoints them, huh?
That's right. That's right.
He's supposed to monitor.
That's right.
The efficiency.
It's very, very important. I can understand what the president is going through, because I'm an entrepreneur. I own a business, and I have people that I employ to work for me. And believe me.
At the end of the day, you end up doing most of the
Yes, if you are not there, like what we are saying, if you are not there and keeping an eye on them, the human being is very corrupt. Are you getting what I'm saying? Somebody walks through your door asking for a job, you give him the job, and then you bless him. but you turn your back and he's doing totally a different thing. And you have to keep an eye on them to say, this is what I want. Sometimes you've got to fight with them to do what you want, or to do the right thing. And we are talking here of a country that is pretty large, pretty big, pretty rich, and very diverse. But to be able to understand what is going on, you must understand the personality of President Paul Biya. If you don't understand the personality of President Paul Biya, you get a lot of things wrong. What is his personality type? You know, you have, if you want to also understand human beings, when you read this book, why you behave the way you do, why people behave the way they do. If you look very keenly at President Paul Biya, he's one of those persons who doesn't like being in the public eye. He's very reserved, and he sits back, and he works from the background. And the thing is, he sets up a government, a prime minister, and the ministers, and all these people, and gives them the power to solve problems. Then when the problem arises somewhere, he creates commissions, let's say the Bilingualism Commission, or the Major National Dialogue, whatever. So he creates things like that, hoping that you'll be able to solve the problems. But this is it. President Paul Biya, you know, puts out the government there and gives them the power. Say, go out there and work on my behalf. Do what you must do for the nation to survive. But unfortunately, he gives power to people who are not solution providers. He gives power to people who, in their training, especially from NM, they're conservative. They conserve. They don't take risk. They don't want to go out of their cocoon and push out there. They don't want to make things happen on their own. They are not proactive. There are people who are used to being programmed. It's like a computer. You type A, then it appears on the screen. You don't type B, it doesn't appear. Even if you go over for 2 weeks, you have to come and type B, then B would appear.
You think you think that those that have been appointed by President Paul Biya are not proactive?
They are not proactive. They are not proactive, and they tend to fight people they fight the people in the community who are proactive. So it's like they come in with a mindset of conserving and protecting whatever, but they don't come in with the mindset of being productive and proactive and going ahead. So that is the biggest problem.
But is President Paul Biya complaining about what you're saying?
Well, it is not President Paul Biya.
Seemingly it's comfortable because he's been working with some collaborators for a very long time.
Well, if you had listened to his speech in 2013, because that's when President Paul Biya made the diagnosis of what was going on going wrong in the country. When did you remember the terms inertia, that the country, the administration was suffering from inertia? He made two things. The administration was suffering from inertia. One, inertia means people are just laid back and are not rising up to the occasion to solve problems. That's what he means. Number two, and that the people were very individualistic and didn't care about common good. Actually, those are the two things that have nailed the country.
Dr. Nick, you said that was in 2013.
2013.
After that, we saw the emergency plan and for the nation and that for the youth. What has come out of it? Seemingly, we cannot have a clear trace of what has happened after 2013. Has anything changed at all?
That's right.
From the President of the Republic to show that what he said and diagnosed as a problem has been
fixed. You remember in the 31st of December 2013, the President even made he laid aside 121 billion just for youths.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then we don't know what happened to the money.
But what has happened?
Why? You can't see a trace, and you can't see what happened. It's because people don't understand problems. You remember? Don't know how to solve problems. And three, don't know how to create wealth.
But what is the problem? What is the problem? You say that people think that politicking in Cameroon is a dirty game, and they don't know that politics is also a means to create wealth, create opportunities for other persons. But the President of the Republic has been working with these people for so long, and they are not using opportunities, because let us assume that 1.2 billion francs CFA was allocated for young people was supposed to play the factor of an investment, which by now was supposed to have been bringing returns.
That's right.
And after that, as we speak, the returns are not there, and the president is not complaining.
There's nothing.
No, but the problem is the president complaining?
No, listen. to be able to have, you see, we have been putting the investment in the wrong hands. Okay, that's why most parastatals have not been working, and they have had to try to sell them off or privatize or whatever. The thing about it is we have a country of civil servants. A civil servant technically is an employee. An employee, last time, still on this plateau, as we say in French, we said that there were 4 legitimate ways of creating wealth or earning money or doing whatever. And one of them is you have to be an employee and you are paid. You have to be a self-employed person. That's the second one. And then you generate your own wealth by your own work. Let's say a lawyer who has a firm or someone who has a shop, a boutique. You have to create a business when you are employing about 50 people to 1,000 people. That's a business, a system that turns on its own and generates wealth, whether you the initiator is there or not. And then you have to be an investor, a big, that we are talking of something on a big scale like Dangote or Papa Dampolo. Now, when you are looking for businesses to run or investments to run, and you put them in the hands of civil servants who have never sold firewood or groundnut, nothing is going to work. That's the problem.
Nothing is going to work.
Nothing is going to work.
I want us to focus on the topic for tonight, which has to do with unity and reconciliation. A lot has been talked about unity, our unity in diversity.
That's right.
We have not seen this work in favor of Cameroon. Why is it not working?
It's not working. You see, this few minutes that we have taken to try to define something. It is not working because when you bake a cake, there are the components of a cake. You have the flour, you have the margarine or the butter or whatever. You have some sugar, some salt, and then you have some baking powder or yeast. I don't know. Then you make the mixture, and then you let it rise or whatever, and then you bake it. You put in, then you get a cake. But if you are going to bake a cake, and you don't make use of the recipe, and you don't have all the elements, and you don't follow the processes, at the end of the day you don't get a cake. So you send someone, you tell someone, let's bake a cake, and then you give him money, 10,000 francs. He buys and he goes and brings you so many kilos of flour, no margarine or things, and he gets it all wrong. So you don't get a cake. That is the problem.
Okay, so our unity in diversity is not working for us because the right formula is not being used.
That is right. That is right. For unity to happen, this has to be happening over there, that one happening over there, so that when you stand aloof and look at it, you see the whole machinery turning. Okay, but when you looked at what was happening in Cameroon, it looked like the country was meant for some civil servants to fill their pockets, they and their children and so on, and everyone else was left in poverty.
Is it not also because we may not understand what unity in diversity is all about? Because we talk of unity in diversity, it also has a cultural, traditional component, understanding the differences of others and learning to blend this for our,
No, it is... That could account, but there are some things that are more important than others.
Okay.
If you've studied, when you go to school, depending on what you want to do, say when you are studying in secondary school, you want to come out to be an engineer or whatever, you will be taking physics classes and mathematics classes, and your own coefficient for physics would be 5 maybe. But for someone who is going to be what? Where physics is not very necessary, they might have a coefficient on 1. I don't know, am I communicating here? So we are saying that for the unity in the nation, there are some things that are more important than others. When you start seeing tribal things coming up, the tribal things are secondary. They are really secondary. What is most important was that we should bake enough cakes to go round for everybody. Everybody should feel belonging. Everybody should be part of the nation. Everybody should be contributing, and everybody, even at the end of the day, there's only one cake, and people can see that there was justice in the sharing of the cake. There will be no problem. And then we will say, all of us, let's join hands and see how we can bake more cakes. So that's what it's all about. But when the cakes are not enough, or even the few cakes that are there, and you begin to share the cakes in a way that don't go round, then things begin to pop up that were not supposed to be there. And you think that it is those things. It is not the tribalism. It is not the this. It's not the that. It's just that we left the principles, we left the values on which things function. And those cardinal values are the values of truth and the values of love. Because when you have truth and you have love, when you're sharing the cake, you don't look at people's faces. You look for competence. You look for the needy. You look for this. You look for that, and so on. You share cakes in a way that people can see, yes, this cake went to this person because of that. It went to this other person because of that. It didn't go to the person because he's from my tribe. So, and then the cakes are not enough because we are not producing. The cake are not enough because somebody has come from outside and stealing our property from down there. So, as a people, we gang together and say, why are we not baking enough cakes? Because our children have not been properly trained. What are we going to do so that our children can? So these are all the problems that we'll begin to solve. Once you begin to do those things, and then people begin to feel comfortable and participating in that general development, and everybody knows that their voice counts and so on, then it is that sense of belonging that creates the unity. But once there's no sense of belonging, because truth and love were thrown out of the door, there were bound to be problems. The center cannot hold.
Dr. Nick, you are talking about sharing the national cake,
yeah,
and national unity. Many persons feel that they feel left out. But who is the key person to define the policy for the cake sharing in Cameroon? It is the President of the Republic. If for 30 years you've assigned people to share the national cake and they are not doing that, you take the responsibility now?
Yes, the president has taken the responsibility, because, I mean, if you had your ears to the ground, you've heard, I mean, the president has come to that final conclusion that most of these elites are liars.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one, because they would come to the powers of corridor, tell a lot of lies, spin all these theories around, set up blackmail for others and so on. But as I speak to you, there's no way you can go to the presidency and blackmail anybody. It's a lie.
Why do you say so?
No, because they finally realized that there are a lot of blackmailers out there who do the blackmail just for the sake of their stomachs. And the issue these days is no longer, oh, this person is good, that person is... No. The issue is, are you baking cakes for everybody?
Now, we are talking about unity and reconciliation as a core in the president's overall agenda for the nation.
Yeah.
But we see tribalism, hate speech, trailblazing in Cameroon, especially when you look at the divide in the political sphere, in regional sphere, across the nation. Many persons are now wanting to identify themselves to their regions. For example, you have 10 million, the Nordistes.
Yes.
We have some people who talk about la Fédération du Peuple Ékan.
Yes.
That is the Fang Ulubetis. We have some people who describe others as Tontinas and Santinas. We have some people who call, so the country, what's not working?
Yes, what you are describing are symptoms. You see, when you begin to see those signs, don't attack by those signs. Don't attack by those symptoms and the signs that you are seeing. No, that's not the problem. The problem is not the fact that somebody said they are Ekang and so on. No, it is an indicator to you that there is something that is brewing under the table that you've got to address. And therefore, to go on television and to be telling people, or accepting or denying it, or banning people, Operation 10 000, what is banned, all those things, that's not the solution. That is not the solution. When you see those things, it's an indication that there's something in the community that is not right. And when you fix that thing, then all of those other things that you're seeing would go away. Is it making some sense right there? Now, and I think if you are listening to Professor Lumumba sometimes, Professor Lumumba and some other person who gave a talk to some students who are graduating, I think it was in the US, where they define when they put the humanity into three groups of people. You have he defined the first group as barbarians. The second group, he defines them as tribalistic people, tribal people. And the third group, he defines them as citizens. Did you ever hear of that classification of the of humanity? So we have barbarians, we have tribal people, and we have citizens. Barbarians are the most primitive people. When we say primitive, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are running around naked. No, they are well dressed. They live in big houses and so on, but they don't have a sense of common good, and they are greedy, they are individualistic, and people who are like that take it by force. They steal it, and they don't want to feed the orphan and the widow. So they have this grabbing tendency. So if you put power in, if you choose some people who have this kind of mindset and give them power, you're not going to go anywhere. The second group is that group that we're saying they are tribal. They have this tribal thing where they tend to congregate around their tribes for survival, so to speak. So they think that the other people are coming to take away something from them. So to protect themselves, they form these tribes. That's why you are hearing this Ekang, Dimil, and so on. And then, if we were to be actually reconciled and be united, what kind of human beings should we have in Cameroon? We should have this human being who has the highest sense of being. He is called the citizen. The citizen is someone who loves himself, and he loves others.
Doctor,
That is it.
Yeah, Doctor, my question is, tribalism in Cameroon is trailblazing.
Yes,
you say these are symptoms.
Yes, they are symptoms.
Yes, these symptoms are coming after 30 years of, above 38 years of.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't solve them because they came after 50 years.
Yes, but is the president to solve them?
Well, he's not solving them.
How?
Okay, wait and see. He's solving them.
The creation of the Bilingualism Commission?
That is a bullshit commission. Because he created that one to be able to address some of these problems.
You say the commission is a bullshit?
It's a bullshit commission.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because they have not done anything, okay? I mean, if we went to them now and said, give us your balance sheet, they have nothing to show. Of course, you saw in the press the other day, they said, oh, on Fridays, people should be wearing cultural clothes. That's not the problem. Vivre ensemble is not cultural clothes or eating a chew and so on. You see, they're not thinking out of the box. They've done nothing. Even we call it Bilingualism Commission. Where is the bilingualism in the nation? There's nothing. Where is the living together? There's nothing. And you were talking a moment ago about hate speech. Has it gone away? No, it has instead increased. And have you ever heard them saying anything about it? No. They're hiding in their shells and eating.
Yeah, but my question stands here, Dr. Nick.
Yeah.
You say hate speech is on the increase.
Yeah.
The President of the Republic has been preaching unity,
yeah,
national integration,
yeah,
reconciliation. How do we explain this? Are you saying that he's been sleeping?
He's not sleeping. You know, like when you put mangoes or pears in a basket to get ripe, you give it the time for the mangoes to get ripe. So, unfortunately, after the 2 years, you realize that the mangoes that were in the basket were not mature on the tree, so they are getting rotten. That's the case with most of these commissions, and it's very unfortunate, if you want me to say it. You know, a lot of money was spent on the major national dialogue. And it was everybody's hope that the major national dialogue was that panacea, or we call it the African panacea, or the medicine that was necessary to solve the problem, starting most especially with the Anglophone problem. But unfortunately, like I have said before, the major national dialogue did not address the problems of the nation squarely, starting most especially with the Anglophone problem. They went on a tangent and left the problem untouched, and that's why the war has not stopped. That's why most of the commissions created around after the major national dialogue are limping. That's why nothing seems to work, and hate speech tends to go on the rise. That said, if that commission had done its job properly, if the Bilingualism Commission had done its job properly, and like many other commissions, if they had done their jobs properly, then the field would have been well prepared for things to happen. But it's not just about doing those political things. Another major problem that we've got to face is the problem of the youths. and that's something that people are not paying much
We are
attention.
we are going to come to that.
That's
Dr.
right.
Nick.
But
Yes.
I'm giving you the little fires, that are burning and are causing this general heat.
Yeah, because we are talking about unity, reconciliation.
Yes.
But was
If you are talking about unity,
when the president, I don't know whether he's the one or his collaborators who came up with this notion of regional balance, was it his predecessor? That is, it means to provide every community the opportunity to share in decision-making positions in Cameroon. That is entranced to in and other big schools. They said, okay, regional balance, everybody was going to come in, but it's still not working.
It's not working. It's not working because of what I tried to explain to you. You see, let's put it this way. Let's go to every region and take 100 children from every region equitably and put in Enam and put in Qs and put in all these big schools. There will still be problems in Cameroon, because we gave the impression that the problems of Cameroon come from the fact that we are not working in the civil service. We have given everybody the impression that the civil service is the alpha and the omega, and that if you are not in the civil service, you are a nobody, and which is a lie. So we are living our lie. And then we have given the impression that even when you are in the civil service like ours, if you are not in commandement, where you give orders and you blow yourself around, when you give orders and people respect you and bow down, when you're passing, you are a nobody. So we got it all wrong. The bottom line is wealth creation. The bottom line is economics. So that when you compare, when you need to look at countries like Germany, where the economies are very strong, where people are doing their businesses irrespective of the government, and the government is only there to guide the people. But here, you know, we give people the impression that it is the government that provides the bread, and yet the government has no capacity to make bread. And the little bread that they have to cut tree trunks and sell them, sell oil and so on. No, that's the primitive economy, and you cannot sustain a nation on a primitive economy. That is the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. Dr. Nick, you say that you use the example of Germany and maybe Japan, where the government ensures that the private sector, the economy is very strong.
Yeah.
But in Cameroon, if the private sector is not strong, what do you hold responsible?
We hold the government responsible.
Yeah, headed by the president.
We hold the government responsible because they didn't realize that they've got to strengthen that economy by upholding the private sector and supporting it. It's very important that we understand that, because for the reconciliation and the unity to happen, people are going to sit around tables and talk. Are you getting what I'm saying? You will talk, and then probably you do some kind of a truth and reconciliation thing. Why did you hurt me? Why did you behave that way? And so on. You forgive each other and so on, and you draw new rules. But beyond that talking, you must produce. If you don't produce, it's not sustainable. You must produce and feed the hungry. You must produce and feed the hungry. There is a job to be done. And if we are in a mess today, it's because we were unable to produce and feed the hungry. So it doesn't matter. The slogans don't matter. Whatever you say, or the peace deals, yes, they are great. But as long as you don't produce and feed everybody, there will be problems.
You are saying that regional balance was also implemented too.
Regional balance was a good thing, but when they did the regional balance, they were only looking at one sector. Are you getting me? They are only looking at
how balanced has the regional balance been in Cameroon?
It has not been balanced because if we want to find out whether regional balance has been balanced, let us take the map of Cameroon. Okay. Let's take a map of Cameroon, and in that map of Cameroon, let us trace out the different regions, and let us take a pen, okay, and let us take the list of workers. Let's take the list of ministers, and then we call a name, a minister called Kum. Where is Kum from? Kum is from womb. Then we go to the northwest where we have womb, and then we star it as one. Then we keep calling the names, and we do that, let's say, for ministers. We do that for DUs. We do that for governors.
SDOs.
We do that for SDOs. We do that for gendarmes. We do that for generals. We do that. Are you getting what I'm saying? Then when we do it and we put it in a board, and you look at it, it gives you a pattern. It gives you a pattern. If regional balance were what it says, then you will see that there's a regional spread. I mean, there's a national spread, which is even.
The regional representation.
That's correct. But if we did it, I don't think that's what we'll see.
Yeah, if that is not possible, why is it that his collaborators are not implementing what he's doing, or
because he trusts them, he gives them the power,
yeah,
and then they do what they want with it.
Appoints the ministers? Is the president now?
You see, and we also have to understand that after the coup d'etat in 1984, a lot of things went wrong. You understand, in the chemistry of the nation.
Okay. Yeah, regional balance, you see, maybe they were appointed to create wealth for their regions than they failed in doing that. But let us look at
that regional balance too. Like we said, the regional balance was to open up so that people from different regions can have equal access, so to speak, controlled and equal access to the public service and the government. But we fail to realize that the private sector is very powerful. The private sector is the one that generates the wealth. The private sector is the thing that can turn things around. And therefore, we got it all wrong. Yes, we have to have regional balance, but at the same time, we have to strengthen the private sector. Are you getting? And then make these things work together. And then make sure that we kill corruption in the nation. It's very important.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Kuman. I am Nikia Maxwell from DOP. We are talking about unity on TV, but here in DOP, I have never heard or seen the military take any of these Amber boys to the DDR center. Whenever they are caught, they get caught. So tell us, Mr. Kum, is there no mercy on the side of the government? Talking about our reconciliation. Okay. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. This is Leonard writing from Chang. Mr. Liu, the president of this country, may not have kept all his promises. He keeps creating commissions without following them up to see how it works. Is he okay? Why can he not move around and clear off the mess? Also, Dr. Nick, whom I respect a lot, is not calling the spade a spade. He's speaking in parables. Is it okay? I don't know whether...
I don't know what parables...
Okay, Dr. Nick is saying the truth. Hello, Mr. Leo, please. I would like to get Dr. Nick's contact. He's very intelligent, okay? There you go. You have his number. I've sent that number already. Hi, this is Elvis in Japan. Dr. Nick, I know you are an honorable man, but constantly aligned with a president who have not delivered to common man for almost 40 years in power. May feel you are not honest. The president is like the head of an organization, and if things are not managed well, he takes a responsibility. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, my question to you is in the studio is to really know what reconciliation in the context of your talk today means, and to know what steps have been taken to achieve that agenda of reconciliation. Tebong is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Tebong. This one says issues that may be affecting the implementation of peace and reconciliation. Leaders are playing with time because so many unlawful killings have taken place. Even if the military and the separatists drop down their weapons today, people will be charged for war crimes. I believe all leaders are aware of this. Think about it. People are scared. Okay? Thank you very much. Dr. Nick, we are talking about reconciliation and unity, and let us look at social inclusion.
That's right.
There are certain institutions in this country that incarnate the republic. How inclusive Anyway, it could be linked to the regional balance we were talking about. But when you look at it, some people have the impression that certain institutions, certain departments in this country are reserved
For some special people. Yeah,
Does that not also breed frustrations and potential social crisis?
It's caused a lot of problems and distress in the population. I can understand some people. You see, when we started the program, another person would have just jumped in and then you blame this, or something like that. But you see that we are trying to paint a big picture so that everybody gets to know how these multifactorial things are impinging on each other. It's very important that we understand this jigsaw, because when you don't understand the jigsaw, then you will never be able to solve the problem. And somewhere along the line, we have time, we'll be able to understand why we have 350 political parties in the country and nothing is working. Yes, and there's still no democracy. So we have decried the fact that, the mindset of the nation has been locked onto the civil service. And everybody has been told that if you are not part of that service, you are public service, you are a nobody. And then when you go into the public service, you will realize that if you are not in the post de commandement, you are a nobody. Check it out. The people who are working as technicians, go to Camtel, see the technicians, go to the medical, go to the hospital, see all the doctors, see all the engineers working, the agric officers working. Nobody gives them any respect. You have to be in commandment to have some respect. So our society is not balanced. And when the society is not balanced, people think that they are missing out on something when really there is nothing. And another way to put it is, the power in the country has been so skewed, and we thought that ENAM is the answer. ENAM is not the answer. ENAM actually as a body has created more problems in the nation. They were supposed to be a solution to problems in the nation. But in fact, come to think about it, 80% of the problems in the country are generated and created by ENAM. Because those guys in their training, they have a mindset to maintain the status quo, to just feel big and throw your weight around. And they are not they are not tailored to solving economic problems and developmental problems. They are tailored to maintain peace and order, so to speak. And if you try to do anything, they pull out that joker and say you're messing up with peace and order, and they nail you. So all of those things have to change. And if you go to countries that are succeeding in Africa, let's take Rwanda, let's take Ghana, let's take Tanzania, and a couple of others. You don't have any structure that corresponds to ENAM. So they do it differently, and I would say that most of our evil comes from that system.
Okay, it comes from that system.
Yeah.
Let me take many persons have asking questions to Dr. Nick. I don't know whether you have
Yeah,
time
let me just brush on the questions.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. I salute Dr. Nick. One of the president's error in choosing his ministers is that after nominating these people, the parliament does not screen them. So we find jokers who know nothing. The executive arm of the government. John is writing from Limbe. I don't know whether.
No, I think it's just a comment. Let's go.
Let us just be ready to be in chaos till the next 50 years, since we all have decided to be political liars. Mr. Leo, you are trying your best. I am a voices in the bushes. Okay. I don't know a voices in the bushes. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, I want to ask Dr. Nick, should we say our president is afraid to send these people away from the government, despite the fact that they have been failing in so many assignments given to them by him? Bisong is writing from Ebolova. And Diwum Emmanuel says, good evening, Mr. Kum, Dr. Nick. There is no magic explanation that can defend President Biya. He was born, okay, not to deliver. He's writing from Yaoundé. No, from Douala. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. Please, Dr. Nick is denying the truth. The president is to blame for not listening to proposals from people like him.
Yes, the thing about it is, again, like I said, The president sits up there, and he has a bunch of people down here, and not everything comes to it. Things are filtered. You understand what I'm saying? And they work as a team. But if you have a team of people around you who don't understand problems, who don't know how to solve problems, and who don't know how to create wealth, and who are selfish and greedy, then you are in a mess. That's the bottom line.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. If all Anglophone CPDM elites could reason out of the dungeon in which they have been thrown like Dr. Nick, then we could be thinking of a solution for this crisis. Gordy is writing from Bomenda. Do you think that is also a core problem to the President of the Republic? But, like a viewer said, why is he not sacking them?
There's a time for everything.
Yeah.
There's a time for everything, and I think that guy is right in the sense that most of our problems are caused by the elites, especially the Anglophone elites. They cause most of the problems in the sense that, you know, there is a problem brewing, and the people complain about something, and it's our own very elites who say, no, there's nothing like that, there's nothing like that, and therefore you make people angry, you see. So our elites create most of our own problems, and then it's just a very sad reality.
It's a sad reality. Now, we are talking about unity.
Yeah.
And we talked about social inclusion, where every Cameroonian, whether you are from a poor or rich background, you should think that you have equal opportunities to have access to schools like ENAM and EMIA and a host of others without necessarily
having a godfather.
Having a godfather or paying your way through.
That's right.
But that's not the case in Cameroon today.
You know that to go to ENAM, you've got to pay 10 million. You know that, don't you?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what you pay. You have to pay 10 million francs to have a place in ENAM. So when it comes to paying, then we are saying that it's not the best who go there. It's those that have the money who can pay their way.
Is the President of the Republic unaware of this?
Well, that's why I'm telling him that people pay 10 million francs to go there. Just go and check. And then go check and find out whether the people who are in ENAM, we have this territorial spread. Okay, there's a problem there. And in fact, there are a couple of institutions that need to be corrected very quickly. One of them is Bilingualism Commission. In fact, these people, they do nothing. They come every morning, sit, watch television, and go back home, and they get paid. In fact, that's one of the places. The places should be shut, and then their budget should be used for creating wealth for youths. Okay, and then because they're wasting resources and wasting time, and I don't know what. There's that Social and Economic Council, another useless thing that has to be shut. Then I think there's a third one. There's a third one that is Senate. The Senate is another one. The Senate is useless. And then the fourth one should be ENAM. ENAM has to be restructured. We have to go to Ghana and to Rwanda and find out what they use to replace ENAM and do exactly the same thing. Okay.
Now, we are talking about divide and unity and reconciliation. Let's look at political coloration and appointments in Cameroon. When consistently those who are appointed to key positions of responsibility, even to the extent of the principals, has to come from one political party, is that not also working against that?
It works against it. It works against it.
The efforts of uniting the country. Just because you belong to a political party, you are denied certain privileges.
The civil service and the people working in the civil service must not be from one political party and must not owe allegiance to one political party. It's wrong. So it's a wrong thing that we've put in place, and it's killing us.
Okay. But is the president unaware of the fact that
he's aware of it? He's aware of it, and
members of his political parties.
He's aware of it, and he's saying that has to change.
He's saying it's through you.
Don't worry, it will change. It will change. I mean, that's why the whole nation has not been working, because we have been doing things wrongly and running after the wrong giraffe. We've got to correct it.
Are you also of the opinion that people are using the political party to
blackmail others?
Not only to blackmail others, but to spoil the nation of its resources?
Of course.
Using the political blanket?
Of course, yes. So people shout. You give them the opportunities, then they go and start doing things. You know, like we've said before, a minister or somebody will fail to do a job from which he was appointed, and then when you ask him, Mr. Minister, why didn't you do that? He says, oh no, my hands are tied. If I were to do that, the president, no, my hands are tied. I wrote to the presidency, I'm not having any reply. My hands are tied, my hands are tied. But yet when they're stealing the resources, their hands are not tied. They don't ask the president. So people only use it as an excuse not to do what they're supposed to do. Does it make some sense there?
Okay. Now, reconciliation with those who have wronged the president. We have many persons who are in prison today. We are talking about reconciliation. Do you think that the president is thinking about reconciling with the people when some persons who may have wronged the president are in prison today?
I think when we're talking about reconciliation in general, the people who are in prison,
they have followings, yeah?
Yeah, they have followings.
You saw the video of the
MLC?
No, there's a recent, yes, MLC.
MLC, yes,
where
yes,
they are
yes.
saying that they are dead because some of their people
are locked up. Well, again, something is not right, and then you begin to see, things popping up like this. When they're popping up, what you want to do is to, if you try to run after the things that are popping up, you will not get it right. You need to pull back and find out what is it that is brewing that is not right, and begin to correct from there. And then you will see most of the flames step down. And I think the first place to start is with the Anglophone problem. We need to solve that Anglophone problem. Once you solve that Anglophone problem in truth, okay, you take the truth and reconciliation, and then you listen to others with respect, and then you get everybody to talk, and then you face the issues without having any taboo issues. You face the issues and get to understand each other, and then you look at each other eyeball to eyeball, man to man, and then you shake hands, and then you share a palm wine, and you tell yourselves, from now we are going to be like this, and then you mean it, and so on. You move ahead, and you say, these are the timelines. We are going to do this, and within those timelines, you do exactly what you said you were going to do. You see, if you look at the DDR has been having some problems now. It's because you say, people come, let us do this, but the people come, and you're not doing what you said you were supposed to do, and then the children start to riot. And why is it so? It's because the DDR is put in the hands of administrators who don't understand problems, who don't know how to solve problems, and who don't know how to create wealth, and who don't know how to do things for people. So they think that they have just been appointed to enjoy. That's the problem. You are appointed to solve problems. You're not appointed to drive around. But let's get it right. Is it making some sense? That's exactly what it. And then during the reconciliation, it's not the person in government that is saying everything. You all put your heads together. Okay, the Anglophone community, the diaspora, everybody who has been hurt. I'm talking now, just about Anglophones, but this is what you do with everybody. What is the problem? Is this? Okay, you have given me 10 problems. Can we squeeze them down to 2 or 5, key things? And they do that. They say, amongst these, which are the most important? Where do we start? And then you start to solve the problem for real.
Okay. Good evening. It's been over 40 years, and the president keeps picking the wrong people to work with them. That means he's also not competent to be the president. Tina is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Tina. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please, my question to you in the studio is to really know what reconciliation in the context of your talk today mean, and to know what steps have been taken to achieve that agenda of reconciliation. Okay. Good evening. Can I answer that? No. Let me just take some.
Okay. And then
just jot it.
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. I think the reconciliation and unity that we are talking about can only come if Cameroonians as a people stand against the present government. Okay. Stanley is writing from Betois. Okay. Mr. Liu, ask Dr. Nick why he is requesting the dissolution of a Republican institution like the Senate when he had once attempted to be a senator but failed. My respect, Dr. J.N. writing from Bamenda. Okay, I'm called Asa Nelson writing from Douala. With all due respect, I have Dr. Nick, but today he speaks so different. No problem, a woman in the kitchen did not cook good food every day. Okay. Okay. This one says, Doctor, please look at the president in the face and tell him the truth that the others are not telling him. Okay. Mr. Ewang from St. Francis Kumba says it's very pathetic that at this moment, reconciliation and unity still portrays an image of delayed tactics instead of its true meaning. There is a total lack of truth and genuine involvement of the right parties. I love and respect Dr. Nick, but please, no need to be technical in particular glaring questions. In all, this country needs more people like you. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and more grace to your humble work. Thank you very much, Mr. Ewang. Yes, you wanted to...
Yeah, the person wanted to know what exactly has been done as far as reconciliation is concerned.
In the country, yeah.
Now, this is it's a new phase. I'm sure you've heard about the Swiss talks before, and so on. So the politics in the nation is going to go into a new phase. It's a new phase that is going to come. All right. I saw it in the crystal. I looked in my crystal ball and I saw it. There's a new phase that is going to come, and when that new phase comes, you'll see things roll out the way people want them to happen.
Okay. Now, there is this issue of the major national dialogue. Yeah. The essence was to bring Cameroonians together. The essence
was to solve the Anglophone problem, but it was diluted.
It was diluted. But at the end of the day, we have some recommendations that were that birthed out of this meeting that brought people from all 10 regions of Cameroon. But the issue is we saw a committee. A committee that was supposed to talk with the people of the diaspora. We saw another one that was supposed to engage with this and that. Do you find them working in that direction? And 1 year after, if they are not doing so, what is the president doing?
I don't know. Forget about those committees. You want to go and talk to the people in the diaspora when you have not even talked to the ones in the prison at your nose. You see what I mean? It's just so. I think even before that commission, I think there were some people who were put on the plane. They are bundled in the plane and sent to go and have a tourism in America, and they came back and so on. So as long as you are doing things and they are not genuine and you don't really want to solve the problem, then of course the answers you come out with will be faulty. So the major national dialogue was never meant to be genuine, and it never solved a problem, and the results we are having now are the results that were expected. So you cannot plant corn and harvest and harvest beans. If you want beans, plant beans. So you do this and you expect this, or you do this knowing what results you will get, and you deceive people that you are going to get this. That's the problem.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Please, I wish to ask if Pendamboko is found in Cameroon, because it is totally being abandoned by the state. It is part of Cameroon. But let's look at reconciliation and what should be done. You say the major national dialogue failed. And did it fail because those that were charged with running the process did not meet the expectations, or the fact that the President of the Republic himself, because he's the one who called for it, did not have the will to specifically solve the Anglophone problem?
It failed because the people who were supposed to run it, they had their own agenda. And most people, they function out of fear. Are you getting what I'm saying? The nation is going on fire, and there are problems everywhere. The international community is concerned about the war. The nation is also concerned about the war. The economy is going down. And then we say, what is the solution to this? How are we going to stop this? Then they say, there must be a dialogue. And everybody says, yes, the dialogue. But when it comes now to putting that dialogue on the table and making it work, then we don't respect the principles of dialogue. That is the point. You know, everything functions according to principles. If you don't respect the principles, nothing works. It's not by political declarations. You need to, if you want to solve the best way to solve a problem is to solve the problem. Face it and solve the problem. Face the music and solve the problem. The best way, if you're going to swallow the tablet and it's quinine and it's bitter and you have malaria, if you leave the quinine and you don't swallow it, and then you go and take bonbon and swallow it in terms, it will not work. It's not because you swallowed something. You are supposed to swallow quinine, but you refuse to swallow quinine, and you swallow something else, and you are expecting to be cured. That's the problem.
Let's focus on the
reconciliation.
The Anglophone problem, since we talk about reconciliation and unity for this nation. What should be done by the government, especially the President of the Republic, to ensure that we once again live in complete unity and in a reconciled nation.
Like they say in Pidgin, nothing no pass arrangement. Nothing no pass arrangement. And whatever violence and war is going on, you can never win it with a gun. The government can never win the people fighting with the gun. You can, like I've said it before, you can go with a gun, kill all Anglophones. That is not the solution to the Anglophone problem. The problem that the Anglophones have is that there is an Anglophone problem that needs a political solution and should be solved. Un point, entre.
So are you saying that those carrying arms today are fighting, they are taking up arms because of the Anglophone problem? Is the Anglophone problem synonymous to separation?
No, the Anglophone problem is not synonymous to separation. The Anglophone problem is an expression of anger based on the fact that you didn't treat someone with love and respect. That's the bottom. That's the Anglophone problem. And then people say, we got a problem, and you don't address it. Then people say, do this so that we can be happy. You do nothing about it, do this. And then it goes to the point where they say, okay, we are leaving the house. And then you think they're joking, then they show up with arms. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so it's a progressive decay. It's a progressive decay. It's a progressive decay. And what we need to do is to now start a progressive repair.
Dr. Nick NGWANYAM,
yeah.
You are an Anglophone. You are saying that Anglophones complained for so long.
Yeah.
And because their problems were not fixed, were attended to, they came up with arms. Are you saying that you would support the carrying of arms because of the Anglophone problem?
No, okay. Somebody should tell me why did they carry arms? You get what I'm saying?
Because they want a new nation. An Anglophone problem is within the limitations of Cameroon.
Okay, let's continue to. If we continue to ask the question why, and wind back. Okay, they didn't carry arms the first day. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's this continuous marginalization and then treating some people as if they had no brains or they had no they can't think for themselves or something. They're your slaves or something. You push them to the wall. You know that if somebody can be very weak, but if you push him to the extent that he gets to the edge of a deep sea, he would turn around and fight. That's what happened. So it's a reaction.
You have been talking about the Swiss talks as a potential panacea to what is happening. Are you aware of the fact that not all the factions that are in this fight have endorsed the Swiss talks?
Well,
what if the President of the Republic or the government says we are going to the Swiss talks, and then other factions with very many fighters on the ground say we do not recognize that? How does it fix this
Let's
problem?
put it this way. When we say Swiss talks, it could be Swiss talks or it could be anything. Call it cum talks or whatever. It's a name that is given to a concept. Are you getting me? Call it any name. Call it what name would you want to give it?
No,
whatever.
No, symbolically, I'm not also focusing on the Swiss talks.
Yes, don't focus on that name Swiss, but the concept of talk.
Yes, I'm saying that.
That some people will not want it.
Let's look at all the efforts. When it was announced that the government of Cameroon opened up talks with Ayuk Tabe, who is in prison today, you read the reaction of the IG that claims to be the governing council now, that said that Ayuk Tabe has been impeached and he has nothing to do with what is going on. Yeah. And then you also saw the reaction from the Ayabacho faction. That is for the talks in Cameroon.
That's right.
With Ayuk Tabe. When it goes to the Swiss talks, somebody like Ayabacho says, I don't recognize it. Whoever is going into any talks with those who have endorsed it, should know that even whatever comes out of it, we do not recognize it. And then we saw the coalition for negotiation and something recently held, coming up with proposals, and they were equally very lambasted by other factions. To say that most of the initiatives that have come up are not endorsed by all the factions. So how do you?
That is right. Can you tell me, the world over, where people have agreed 100% on anything. Even in your house, do you agree 100% with your wife? That is the bottom line.
Okay.
We need to be practical. We need to be practical in the way we look at things. If you think that a solution is not only good because 100% of the people adhere to it, then you are wrong. A solution is good if 70% of the people accept. And mind you, whether it is ABC or who talking, you are not talking on your behalf. It is about a people. It's not about you. Are you getting what I'm saying? That's the first thing we should make very clear. It's not. It has nothing to do with, okay, you could be talking, but it is about a people. And the question is, what are we going to do so that West Cameroonians are no longer killed in the country, either by the military or by the Amba or whoever? That is the bottom line. What are we going to do so that peace returns to our country, so that the economy can continue to grow, so that children can begin to go to school, so that we can repair the damage? That is the bottom line. Now, and everybody has been saying, let the president speak, let the forces in the nation speak, let the international community speak, let us of the diaspora who are part of, let us speak. That is the common ground. And once that common ground is accepted and the talks begin, then the rules of the game will be laid down and everybody will be obliged to follow the rules of the game. And it's very, very interesting. I mean, you can hear people who are drinking coffee in America or Germany. They would lambast, Ayub Tabi. He's in prison, and he can still hold his head above the water. But if you were to catch them and put them in the same prison, they will not continue to say what they are saying. And let me make it very clear to everybody. Listen, it's good to talk. You can see that people were supposed to be deported in America, but the deportation was stopped. And when you hear a lot of the people shouting from America and the American government is silent, it's not because the American government doesn't hear or because they have works. So they will get a point in time when the international community will agree and say, okay, enough is enough. Everybody toes the line. At that material moment, if you are the troubleshooter, you go to the ICC and you'll be put behind bars and you will account for all your crimes. Besides, anyway, let's just make it clear, even if the talks hold, people who committed crimes will still go to the ICC. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah. It's because when people are just talking and they are not facing the music, anything comes and anything goes. But there will come a time when you must have to think what you are saying, you must have to think what you are doing, and you must be very careful or you pay the price.
Now, let's look at the government's efforts to engage in better unity, reconciliation efforts in Cameroon. Are we also where we are because opportunity has not been given to core experts in crisis management?
That's
because
right.
There are persons who are experts in this domain, but seemingly
they have been sidelined. They have been sidelined, and then you get a few people who have been propped up. They make irresponsible statements, left, forward, center, and so on, based on no principles, but based on feelings and party discipline and all these things. So they end up creating more chaos than solving the problem. So yes, we have a problem, but if in solving the problems, if we fronted experts, I'm not even talking of experts from abroad, our own experts, we have them in the country, say, in this kind of situation, what is the technical way of solving the problem? And everybody follows that technical alignment. We would have solved the problem, but we take the experts, we don't even listen to them, we shove them aside, and then because you have been appointed by whoever, you make noise, you throw, and then you say things that just, it's like an elephant that goes into in the Chinese wear shop, and then you just break up everything, even the little that others have been building, you shatter it. So that's irresponsibility. Sure.
It's irresponsibility, but crisis management is something that is taught in almost every training now. Is the government not aware of the fact that in times of crisis, there is supposed to be crisis communication, there's supposed to be crisis this, there's supposed to be crisis this?
The crisis communication,
not only communication, at all the levels. Yes. Why not set up a crisis
communication
management?
Should not be threats.
Why not set up a crisis management committee with experts in the domain to do this?
That's where we failed. We failed in that. I agree. We failed in that.
Yeah, you are talking about a possible committee for reconciliation. Yes.
Yeah, and which, of course, that's where your crisis committee comes in now. Yeah, to do that.
Is that what the government, you are expecting the government to do
The
now?
government would do it. I said the government would do it.
Why are you too sure?
Because I saw it in the crystal ball.
You are behaving like TB Joshua now.
Yes, I'm his assistant.
I'm calling you apostle.
I saw it in the crystal ball.
Okay. Let's look at reconciliation, the youth. Many young people think that they have been sidelined for a very long time. The old guard have occupied almost most of the top positions in Cameroon, and they are there for decades, and the young people are getting the more frustrated. Is this also working against efforts at uniting and reconciling the country?
That's right. But if you, like I said, the problems in the country are multifactorial. Okay, the causative factors are the causative agents. They are multifactorial. So, but when you have taught the youth that you can only survive by an appointment, you can only survive by being a civil servant, then when you have a concours or a competitive examination to go to NM, 30,000 of them show up. You have it to recruit doctors, 20,000 of them show up. That's a problem. Are you getting what I'm saying? And then you out of the 30,000 who showed up to go into NM, you take 1,000, and you don't ask yourself a question: what happened to the 29 others? That is the question you should be asking. And then you concentrate on the 29 other, the 1,000 others, and you think you did something. And even the 1,000 others, they came in through corruption. Are you getting what I'm saying? You didn't solve a problem. You are just multiplying the thing, and then you are just adding more gunpowder to the system. Are you getting what I'm saying? What you should be doing is finding out those 29,000 that I rejected. What happened to them? What happened to them? And putting in a mechanism that works. Because even the mechanism for concours in the nation don't work. They don't. We have to look for a better way of recruiting people into different schools. And then we have to, like we said, we have to change our education so that it's more creative. It trains people who are more creative and more productive, people who understand problems, people who can solve problems and who can create wealth.
Dr. Nick,
so that we open up the private sector and help youths. Are you getting what I'm saying? Help youths. You can help a youth in the private sector, even to earn 500,000 francs or even 700 or 1 million. That youth doesn't have any business going to this to be standing in a line in the civil service to earn 200,000. Is it making some sense?
Yes, but Dr. Nick, you are talking about the fact that almost every young Cameroonian wants to get into these offices. Seemingly, you have no issue with the fact that most very important positions in Cameroon are not handled by young people. We have seen people who are very old who are that is a problem. No, that is a problem. That's a problem, and it's going to be corrected. Oh, I saw it in the crystal ball. You are asking me. It's going to be corrected. It's going to be corrected. That's a problem, and it will be corrected. The old people are going to be swept aside. I said it's a problem, and it will be corrected. I'm seeing it in the crystal ball. Okay. The common man, do they not also feel sidelined in decision making? That's what we said. Yes, we have boxed up everything. You know, when there is a major thing going on in the country, like when we had the major national dialogue, you know, the Prime Minister called people from all over, bring their ideas. Or even when the major national, when the Bilingualism Commission went around, what is the problem and so on. And even when governors, DOs and SDOs, they go around, they listen to the population and gather ideas. But you would have realized that they gather the ideas, put them together and lock them up in a cupboard. Or they send them up, and somewhere along the line, they are locked in a cupboard, and the ideas or the problems are not worked upon. So the common man feels that somebody somewhere is not listening to them, and that is a problem, and that has to stop. That has to stop. And it will stop. Okay, it's going to stop, so a common man down there who has a great idea should be able to know that, my idea has liberated the nation. And if we begin to give honor where honor is due. Let's say some peasant
has a bright idea, and then brings it on the table, and everybody realizes it's a bright idea, the government should take the idea, recognize the person for the idea, and say thank you. It's very, very important to recognize people and make sure that we are all aware that whether you are small or big, you can change something in the nation. It's very important. Let me give you some practical examples. See, if I were in a position of strength, you remember during the COVID disease, when it was the fight of the COVID disease, there was one, the SGO went somewhere in some village there to give out some buckets, and that one chief, a male, he stood up to complain about the quality of the buckets, and the SDO insulted the man. You remember that incident? That man, that chief, is someone who should be propped up. He's someone who should be recognized for standing up for truth. There was that lady too, a lady chief somewhere in Kribi here or something, who stopped the SDO and some wood logging companies from messing them up. Those are people who should be recognized. And then you see, like this chief for coach, what is the chief? There's this chief in the
West region.
Yes, that chief who's standing up and saying this is how things are. He is saying the right thing and he's talking for his people. We should not, kind of like gag people and they can't talk, and it must be only someone who is appointed who can talk. No, let the people at the grassroots talk.
Okay. Let the people at the grassroots talk. Good evening, sir. Our problem is that we are not free as a nation. We all should rise against France. Damien writing from Douala. Good evening. If President Paul Biya is a serious president, then people like Dr. Nick should have been appointed since. This one says, the problem with the leaders in Africa, especially Cameroon leaders, they are not as serious and should know that 100%. Kwavo is writing from Boya. Kaka writing from South Africa says, good evening, Mr. Leo and Doctor. Maybe if we are to seek solutions to a problem, we need to first identify the problem and accept. So if I may ask, at the reconciliation that you people are talking about, who is reconciling with who when they have not yet accepted that there is a problem? Doctor, you were part of this dialogue. Was there anything like the Anglophone problem mentioned during the major national dialogue? I'm sure special status was given to the Northwest and Southwest region, though it is still under serious debate.
Can I say something about
I'm sure, let me take some messages.
Okay.
I'm sure that was done in recognition of the Anglophone problem. Mr. Leo, good evening. Talking about reconciliation, just the word sorry from the president will go a long way to solve the problem and also to open those agricultural centers closed in early 90s to empower the Anglophones. Frank is writing from Bamenda. Hello, Mr. Leo. Greetings to you and Dr. Nick in the studio. Dr. Nick, what do you also think about Konak? Reverend Chinda writing there. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Dr. Nick. Enjoying your program. Want to appreciate Dr. Nick. The way is sure seemingly he got good news for us in Cameroon. His answers are short, direct, and very convincing. I wish we had people within the discipline who can still conscientize themselves, like Dr. Nick. Wish him God's protection. Franklin is writing from Bamenda. This one says, Mr. Leo, I love your program very much, and thanks for creating such a platform to educate Cameroonians. Please, I need to have Dr. Nick's number. I'm Chris. Okay, Chris, there you have Dr. Nick's number. You can contact him. Good evening to Mr. Leo. It's Nzutu from Isu. Okay, Nzutu. How are you? Greetings to Dr. Nick, my proprietor. What the President Paul Biya should do in order to achieve this is reconciliation and national unity is that he should implement a two-state federation. That's just all. Very easy. And the two. I don't know if you are writing from Isu. Greet Mala for me. Tell him I send him greetings. This one says, if the government looks into the private sector, make it in a way that young people will be able to handle, then we will be of positive impact to our country. You pay taxes more than the capital you run. Frank is also writing from Bamenda. Hello, Mr. Leo. Very long message. Good evening, says the head of state is aware of everything. It's funny to say he's told the truth. He's rather told what he wants to hear because he has made it to be so. Tell him that he has been in power for and you will be his enemy, but say that we think the head of state and you are his friend. He said in France that they wanted to assimilate the Anglophones, so everything here had been geared towards making that want to come to pass. How do you explain that? You call it on a dialogue which I call a monologue with a prepared agenda. Please, I wish to have Dr. Nick's number. You have Dr. Nick's number there. This one reads, good evening, Mr. Kum and Doctor. Please, can Doctor tell us when all what he sees and believe in them happening will be? A great number of youths are already out of patience and are giving up on the nation. Boni is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Boni. Very correct, sir. Youths are really feeling left out. We really need workshops that will drill us properly in different domains of our society. Nongene Peter, writing from Pindamboku. Good evening to you in Nongene. Good evening, Mr. Leo and crew. The situation of this now is becoming confusing. More people seem to embrace wrong than right. Let us all judge our minds. Please let love lead. Agendia Sylvester, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please help me tell Dr. Nick that my sister's attestation is missing. Okay. Can you call? Can you just call Dr. Nick, please? That is not our topic for discussion. That is something private. Can you just call him after the program? And good evening, Mr. Liu. I really love your program tonight. As a youth, I don't see any unity, reconciliation, or a solution to the crisis. If the president keeps on using one and the same people to govern Cameroon, it's Valentine. Writing from Yaoundé, good evening to you, Valentine. Greetings, Mr. Kum. Please, I beg to correct Dr. Nick that a troubleshooter is a problem solver, mediator or peacemaker, as opposed to a troublemonger or maker. It is the troublemonger that would find themselves in the ICC, not the trouble shooter. I'm sure we have all seen crisis in the world. Everybody involved will go in for it. Hello, good evening, sir. If the president has to solve the Anglophone problem genuinely, he has the first of all release all those incarcerated because of this crisis. Gerard Fru is writing from Bonaberry. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The major problem in Cameroon is that of new colonialism. France is behind most problems faced in Cameroon. Cliff Fofun, writing from Bamenda. Oops, the messages are just. Dr. Nick,
yeah, can I pay attention to some of the questions? You know, someone says our problems are because of France. It's a yes and no answer. Okay, because if we got our education right, and if we were doing things right, it would be beneficial to us and to France. But the bottom line is we fail. Like I said, our education does not allow us to understand problems. Our education does not allow us to solve problems and to create wealth. You see, let's take, for instance, let's just take a common this thing. We have new streets that are constructed, and then we eat banana peelings and throw on them. We put dirt everywhere in our streams and so on. We've had independence since 1960, and here we are, and when we are selling in the market, go to a place like Bonamusa, the food is still being laid on mud. How did the French do that? Yes, we have problems, but let us not keep blaming other people for the little things that we can do. There are some problems that are at our level that we can solve. But if you fold your arms and sit there and you don't address yourselves to issues, and then you lump everything on a foreigner, then of course you're not going to go anywhere. Yes, the French might have crafted things in a way that makes it difficult for us to survive in some areas. But you should be walking while complaining. There's a lot of stuff that we are not doing for ourselves. And because we are not doing that for ourselves, it even hurts the French that we are saying have created the problems. I think that most of the people who come from abroad to invest in Cameroon have issues because there is something that we are not doing. We are not forthcoming with something. And if we were able to do even the little ones, then it would help. Take for instance, we import fish and rice for 300 billion every year. Is it the French who asked us to be importing those things? No, it's our own. It's our collective failure. It's our collective failure. You train people in agriculture and they cannot produce a chicken. You train your own engineers and they cannot build your roads. Why? Why? So let us not. Yes, it's good to blame, but if you're going to sit down and be drinking beer from morning till evening and blaming others, it's not going to work. Be doing your best. You know, this is the adage for success. Do your best with what you have, wherever you are. That's the bottom line. Until you have done your best, you always have problems. There will always be somebody around that you have to blame. But you should be seen to be doing your best. If you are doing nothing and you're not doing your best, then you're not going to go very far. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
Then you said something about the Major National Dialogue. You know, I was at the Major National Dialogue, and that's why I can tell you that it was a failure, looking at you in the face to say it was a failure, and we are going to have another dialogue to correct that wrong. It was a failure, which there's no need debating it. Number two, you said something about CONAC. Is it working as it was supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know their terms of reference, but we find it very funny that when they catch people in the corruption, then things seem to turn around and so on. But what people have been complaining about is that they catch people in corruption, but the money doesn't seem to be taken and put back in the treasury. The people are locked up in the prison, and they still keep the money for themselves and their family. So that's a problem.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. When we have the impression that most of your problems in the Anglophone regions is caused by your elites, but they do so and end up being promoted by the power that be who then should actually be blamed. Ambiance writing from Messager.
All of that is going to stop. I see it in the crystal ball.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and special greetings to Dr. Nick. I love the program. The knowledge of Dr. Nick. God bless you all and protect you, especially Dr. Levis Bliss, writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you all. In everything, we thank the head of state for not giving us work after all. It's Etienne, writing from Bafusam. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love your program. I'm writing with absolute grief. Think actually two-state or federation is necessary, and by doing so, he should release all those detained in relationship to the crisis. We are in hell in Bamenda. Trevor is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Trevor. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Tata Napoleon from Bamenda. The particular topic today is very important for the Anglophones, especially the manner in which Dr. Nick is handling the topic. I propose that a replay should be done weekly for at least 2 months. Okay. Greetings to you, Mr. Liu. I always enjoy your program. Please tell Dr. Nick to keep on like that. I see him like one to help stop the Anglophone problem. If only the government will listen to him. Ndang Ngruo Jeunesse, writing from Guinea Equatorial. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Thanks for the program. Thank you too. Good evening, Mr. Kum. What happened to the All Anglophone Conference? I'm Callistus, writing from Aqua in Douala. Mr. Leo, please ask the doctor what is a crystal ball and what is this crystal ball that he sees through that I'm yet to see through. Dr. Nick NGWANYAM.
Yeah, this guy.
Now, many persons have raised the issue. We want a reconciliation. Why not just release those who are in prison, especially when we talk about the Anglophone crisis?
Let's see what happens when we get to the bridge. Let's see what happens when we get to the bridge. Okay, you can't cross the bridge until you've gotten there. Let's see when the reconciliation would start. Let's see what happens. Okay, when we get to the bridge. And someone was asking about. I think there were some questions. What was it again? Oh my God! Someone asked something about the ACC and so on. Well, there was the issues of the ACC, but probably what you wanted to ask was about the AGC. What Cardinal Tumi wanted to put together. Well, it didn't work because the people who crafted the major national dialogue did not want the cardinal Toomey factor in it because it would have torpedoed it in the right direction. But so they took that out of the formula, and today we are in the mess. And to say that if they had listened to his eminent Christian Cardinal Toomey, and if they had followed and the steps that he had put together and done what was expected, and did things in love and truth, the whole thing would have been solved. So they cooked up everything, then took Cardinal Toomey and many other cardinals and bishops and put them there just to color the room, but they had no intention of facing the truth. And with the reconciliation, the truth and reconciliation, we have to look at the root causes of all the problems, because you cannot solve a problem if you don't know the root cause. If you want to kill a eucalyptus tree, you must cut the roots.
You must cut the roots. Now, who is stopping the unity and reconciliation efforts of this nation? You say it is the elite, those working with President Paul Biya, but is he not condoning?
No, he is not. He's not. Like I said, I'm seeing in the crystal ball, and he's going to spin the wheel around in the different direction, and all these problems will be solved.
How soon?
I don't know. If I have the revelation knowledge, I will tell you. But all I know is that it's going to happen.
If it's going to happen, what has been keeping you? Are we waiting for more persons to die?
No, it's not so. Are we not in the mango season? Do the mangoes get ripe in the same day? No. So everything has a timing. That's it.
Now, let us look at a reconciliation from the perspective, unity, from the perspective of our communities, away from the President of the Republic. Do we think that there is need for community leaders to see the very essence of beginning to reconcile themselves, especially the political elite? We know the situation that actually prevails between communities and their elites today.
That's right. When the ball starts to roll, for that reconciliation to really happen, especially let's be facing the Anglophone community, because we'll know what we're talking about. It will be important that all those elites that were there before are moved to the side, because like they say, they created the problems. If they created the problems, they cannot solve the problems. So for the reconciliations to really take place, all those elites will have to be shoved aside. So even all those elected people who are there now, they will have to be shoved aside, because in a way, they might have their say, but that say would be limited. It's no longer dictating from above down. It would be on a horizontal plane, eyeball to eyeball. There's nothing like I am an elite and you're a villager now. And then, because it's these elites that have caused the problem, so you have to remove them from the equation. And then get people. You see, like that woman from Nkumba who stood up when the minister was there and spoke her mind. You see, like that woman who stood up in Bamenda and talked about the locking of markets. That's the energy that you need. And then you canalize that energy positively and listen to the people like that, and the problem is solved. It's very important. Right. And then this reconciliation is not only between the government and the people amongst themselves, because there has been a lot of violence and hard feelings between people on the ground. So this thing has got to be between families too, and we have to talk to each other. The nation has to be talking to itself.
But the elites, they have work to do.
There must be a new set.
Wait
a minute. Yeah. There must be a new set of elites with a new mindset. Are you getting me? But you cannot put new wine into old wineskins. The old elites that are there have been the problem, and you've got to shove them aside. They must be shoved aside. If you don't shove them aside, the problem will not be solved. So it is when
you say there is need to put them aside, they're getting
Who cares?
Are you sure they would want?
Who cares? It's not about their opinion. People are suffering, and then it's not about. It has nothing to do with their opinion. If you wanted to be there, solve the problem. You can't solve the problem. Forget it. You are thrown off it's simple. I'm seeing the crystal ball. It's not about you. It's about the people who are suffering. Now it was the elites standing ahead. No, now it's about the people. It's not about elites. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Leo. Greetings to Dr. Nick. Prime Seydou is writing from Messager. Seydou, good evening to you and to everybody watching us from Messager. Good evening, Mr. Leo. For the best of my knowledge, the president should call for a square table with Anglophone leaders and discuss, and he had to remove all his troops from northwest and southwest regions. Ngoma Yannick is writing from Limbe. Good evening in the studio. I pray God uses Dr. like Moses for this crisis to be over. Good evening, Mr. Kum. I enjoy your program. I pray that government should listen to Dr. Nick. The Anglophone problem will be solved because he is very intelligent. Is Mr. Mafai Herbert writing from Bonamusadi, in Douala, okay, not far from where we are doing this program. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Love your program. Elvis writing from Limbe. To solve this problem, the government must first start by solving the roots of the problem. We are talking about reconciliation. Okay, my brother from the United States says, good afternoon, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick, watching from Chicago, United States. Dr. Nick is revealing a lot of stuff that we are taking notes of and waiting for them to get started soonest and stop the suffering of the common man. Thanks. Okay, good evening to you, Yankong. Richard, watching from Chicago. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and a special one to Dr. Nick. If those in detention are still unreleased, then the reconciliation will become a farce. Daisy, stop calling, please. Daisy is writing from Kumba. I am Eno Agbo. Dr. Nick, Bia should go because Bia has nothing more to offer. Okay. Yes, once again, greetings. When talking about reconciliation and national unity, I believe it should come after ceasefire. Then we can talk about reconciliation. I'm Callistus. Okay, Callistus, good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Leo. My name is Abdul Buba from Sabga. Please help us tell the regional boss of customs to better bring us through customs, not gendarmes and police taking money from local men. I'm sure many persons have complained about that. We are going to do a program about it. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Please ask Dr. Nick what role does our chiefs have to play in this reconciliation. He's taking notes. He's going to answer you. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. How do we call for unity and reconciliation when things are not done equally? Check the network in Boya and Bamenda. It's zero. I went to Yaoundé and the internet is superb. We all want unity, but things should be done rightly and things will automatically fall in place. Ricardo is writing from Boya. This one says, Tessie Henry writing from Diongo, mile 12, a Kiliwindi. In addition, grant amnesty to all prisoners of war. With this, at least he had paved his way for reconciliation and unity. The action of law enforcement officers isn't really helping the president's reconciliation call because they are creating an atmosphere of hate between the people and the government. Stop the calls, please. Terence is writing from Mutengen. Good evening to you. Terence, yes, Dr. Nick?
Yes, someone said something about chiefs. In solving this problem, okay, we respect our chiefs, but you have to just let the chiefs be.
Okay.
Yeah, the chiefs, people, everybody would participate, but chiefs will not talk on behalf of people. No, because for now the chiefs have been corrupt, okay, and the chiefs are partisan. So you cannot have a chief talk on behalf of the people on very strong issues like this. So the chiefs will just express themselves as individuals and get every other person to express themselves. Then once we have solved our problems, we'll redefine the role of chiefs in our communities, and then we will rebuild what was damaged by scratch my back, I scratch your back.
Okay, we'll rebuild what was damaged by scratch your back, I scratch. But should the people, the population also start thinking about the need for reconciliations, because many wrongs have been committed. Yeah. We have persons whose families have been killed by children from other families.
That's right.
Need
that's
to
why
start from that level? That's
why I said that when we are talking about reconciliation, truth and reconciliation is not just about the government and the West Cameroonians. It's about it's this human thing. It's this human thing. You know, husband and wife, this family and that family, that and that, this tribe and that tribe, and so on. We need to create that mass movement where we all rise, you know, and say, hey, it's time to stop this. And then we all go on our knees and pray for forgiveness, and we forgive each other and ask God for forgiveness. It's very important.
Very, very important. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I love your program. I'm Cornelius, writing from Kribi. I'm an IDP. Good evening to you, Cornelius. Good evening to all those in the studio, especially to Dr. Nick. I'm Hassan, writing from Douala. Good evening, sir. I pray for such programs the government should reconcile with its citizens faster. Okay, good evening, Mr. Leo, and our spokesperson there in the studio is Desmond. Good evening is Mr. Chavisliano, writing from Kribi. I love the program. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Why can the government not go back to 1961? Good evening, Doctor, writing from Kumbu. It's good to advise Dan. Hi, Mr. Leo. If the government wants peace and reconciliation to be successful in the Northwest and Southwest regions, let the President himself come to the table for discussions. Good evening, sirs. For how long will the common man suffer in the hands of those fighting? God bless you for touching issues like this. There is a crisis going right now in these two regions. Dirty water only received cleansing from the top before the bottom. Okay. Good evening. Abdas from Kambe. Anything we want to, let's do one thing. That's unity, and stay away from tribalism before we succeed in anything we want to do. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and the whole panel. Since 1990, from the days of Nijon Frundi till today, the days of Maurice Kamto, what has any political party done so as for Cameroon to rally behind them? What annoys me most is that someone went to France and said we wanted to assimilate them. Daniels is writing from Victoria. We have to end here. The messages are so many. National integration, and people work in the regions, in their regions of origin. Government wants national integration. But when you look at the postings, you have worked in the Northwest for a very long time. If you go to Menchum division, you discover that the delegate for education is from Menchum. The principals are from Menchum. You go to other divisions. Why not take people from Menchum, send them to the far north, take people from this so that there is that blend?
No, it's the problem. You're still going back. I think you need some education on the problem tree.
Okay.
In the sense that, when you want to solve a problem, what you are doing, when you're asking this question, you are concentrating on leaves. So a tree has got leaves, small branches, major branches, a trunk, and some roots. When you want to solve a problem, forget about these little things, mention, no. We are not going to that tribal thing that we are talking about.
Yes, but my question, I don't know whether you got my question.
Yeah.
My question is, if from the onset, because we are living a situation because we failed in doing something.
Yes.
When we tribalize almost everything, that when you go to this area, you go to Dongaman.
No, don't worry. See, the time is running out. Can I answer that question?
Yes.
See, we are going to put new wine into new wine into new wine skins, and what you see now, you see it normal.
You who? Doctor.
Forget. I'm seeing it in the crystal ball. As a nation, we agree to put new wine into new. When you will have this reconciliation and unity thing and the dialogue that I'm talking about, all these things will fall in place. It's very, very important that we focus on the main thing and then forget about the small things. The small things will just fall in place. Are you getting what I'm saying? And then a system will be created where if some small things were forgotten and you raise that up, it is corrected the next day.
Was it part of the political manifesto under which the President of the Republic got elected?
Yes. He had intended for the nation to be going well, but like I said, first you had that war in 1984, which disturbed his thinking, and then he rallies people around him to help him. But they spend time doing something else, and that's why we are where we are today, and that will be corrected. They
have been doing it for so long, Doctor.
Well,
you will say it's better late than never.
Better late than never. What you are telling me is that because it has been long, it should not be corrected. No, it's wrong. When you come to the realization that it has to be corrected, and then it has to be corrected, and I'm telling you that it will be corrected.
Okay, we have to end this juncture of the program. If you missed the program, take the rendezvous for a rebroadcast tomorrow, 1 p.m. on My Media Prime television. We want to say thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Nika.
And my last word is that the war will end soon. Thank you.
Okay, the war will end soon.
Thank you. Yeah.
We pray God.
The war is ending soon. Thank you. Pray about it.
We want to thank you all who took time off to watch Prime this day. Tomorrow, the situation of CDC is going to be discussed once again on this platform. CDC happens to be the second employer in Cameroon, but it is dying slowly, and if nothing is done, the giant agricultural company may die out. So why is the government still reticent to come in to salvage the sorry state in which the CDC finds itself? We are going to be discussing that with our panelists tomorrow. So CDC is going to be focused. Is going to be our focus for tomorrow's edition of Prime R. We want to thank you all, Desmond, and to you, Eli, and to you, Bertrand, and Noel. We equally want to say thank you to you, Tabby, Tambe Bryant, who is supervising our work out here, and to you, Kaiser Michelle. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.